everyone, my name is Vishu Reddy, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast, where we're diving into a really interesting phenomenon happening in India right now, where the names of cities, districts, train stations, and even gardens are being changed. What could the commonality between all the names chosen to be changed be? Well, all of the previous names have connections to Islamic rulers who were present in India before its independence. I'm actually from one of the cities being targeted by a name change campaign like this right now. Hyderabad is a large metro city in southern India. It was originally ruled by a Persian sultanate called the Nizams, who had their own empire and operated as a princely state before becoming proxy rulers under the British colonization. Of course, no surprise here, but that means Hyderabad's name is influenced by the Persian language and culture. All of this stuff is important because of the current ruling government of India. The current party in power promotes the idea of Hindutva, which is Hindu supremacy. They have also been called nationalist and promote a Hindu-centric viewpoint. What's really interesting is that some scholars have argued that all these name changes is actually the result of a phenomenon called saffronization. Saffronization, one, refers to the color saffron, which is deeply connected with Hinduism and being pure and being spiritual, and is also the color of the BJP, which is the ruling party of India, the one where the Prime Minister is from. To explore how saffronization as an ideology and as a phenomenon got its roots in India, I'm talking to Sayan Dey. He's originally born and brought up in Calcutta, and he's currently the assistant professor and department chair of English Studies and a vice chair at Bayan College in Oman. So where did this all start? Well, we'll hear it from Dey.
For that, we have to go back to the colonial times, because to the operational perspectives of RSS, Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh, because the BJP was obviously not there during the colonial times, but RSS, if we look at their history, they played a pioneering role in India's independent movements.
Okay, quick interjection here in case you're not too sure what the RSS is. It's basically this Indian right-wing Hindu nationalist volunteer paramilitary organization, which it just so happens that their logo or their color is also saffron. And they've been very connected to the BJP. Okay, let's go back to Dey.
But when they were, shaping their movements, conceptualizing their movements, it was very much structured on the communal lines. So to put it out very bluntly, basically they wanted to establish this anti-colonial movement as a Hindu movement, as to project how the Hindus, especially and obviously the high caste Hindus, hold a lot of power and prowess against the British. This sort of anti-Islamic rootedness dates back to the times of the RSS operations at the time of British colonization, and then it sort of got carried forward with post-colonial India.
Okay, wait, but how did that get us to where we are now?
Jumping now directly to 2014, we have to see that the narratives, the perspectives, if we see, let's say when we, one of the interesting aspects when BJP came to power, when they were doing this pre-election campaigns, a very interesting keyword that they used to generate vote banks was decolonization. This was the first time when decolonization within the Indian discourse framework, it became a public word. I mean, prior to that, obviously, decolonization was very much restricted within classroom theories, within conference theories, within very elite, guarded, four-walled academic locations. But this is the first time when decolonization came into the public space, that where we need to revive back what was Indian. We need to revive back the golden age of glory. We need to get into, need to revive everything that was traditionally Indian.
Whoa. I mean, my first thought is, what does it mean to, like, what is traditionally Indian? Especially in a country with so many ethnicities and cultures. Um, and also, this really surprises me. The concept of decolonization being so accessible is something that I always thought would be good, you know?
But what is happening under the BJP regime is a very distorted, uh, fictionalized, and extremely propagandist version of decolonization that they have fleshed out into the space. In fact, they are using this word, the keyword decolonization, as a way, as a form of blanket to hide their real intentions of converting India, or this vision of converting India into a high caste Hindu fundamentalist nation.
One thing that I've always felt was a little strange is that a lot of these conversations happen in places that are not ruled by the BJP or where they don't have a stronghold. Um, and just so I can explain this for the people listening, India is a multi party country. So it's not a two-party system like in America. So there's a lot of different parties that are active in multiple states, one state, one area, etc. So it's kind of interesting, or I really wonder why, like, this we're even having these conversations about places that aren't BJP strongholds. For example, Hyderabad.
One thing I always have felt very strongly is, like, maybe every locality where I stayed in terms of my work or residency may not be a BJP ruled area. But the thing is, their ideologies are toxic and infectious. Even if it is not a BJP ruled area, you see somewhere that they have so subtly, um, injected those ideologies across spaces, locations, and mindsets, that they sort of get normatively reflected around us.
Honestly, I can definitely say that I've observed the same around me. And, I'm really happy that we went through like the history of saffronization, how it kind of has its roots in India, how it was able to plant a seed and grow. But I really want to get to to the center of the issue here, because I know a lot of people may not think much about a city's name changing. And it may seem inconsequential, but what I'm trying to find out through talking to people like you and through my research and my article is, what does this all mean? Is it something that the government's doing on purpose? Is there an end goal here? From your perspective, is this inconsequential or does it all add up?
Yes, I think, to understand this, we have to understand BJP's politics of sanitization, ideological sanitization, and intellectual sanitization. Now, because at the end, what BJP aspires, what RSS aspires, and what other right wing groups and subgroups in India aspires, and also I believe across the world, like Trump aspires to make US a Christian fundamental state. That's his ultimate aspiration, a white, heteronormative Christian fundamental state. On a similar note, this is what BJP aspires in India, to make it an absolute Hindu fundamental state. And for that, one has to undergo these techniques where, Prayagraj, right? The station Prayagraj, the city Prayagraj, the station Prayagraj. Then Mughal Sarai station becomes Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyaya station, right? And and they have endlessly, now recently they are even planning to change the name of Taj Mahal as well, right? So something Hindu name. So, these requires a lot of sanitation. Then, as we have already talked about, erasures in textbooks. And then you also see when it comes to the question of removing names or replacing names, they have done that already within the parliament. The new parliament building has come up. You must have read about that now the people and the images and the ideas and the kind of constructions the halls have made, the way they have changed the names of the halls and the rooms or whatever they have put it out, it is again this whole element of sanitization also comes with the whole politics of keywording. Like you are peppering your surroundings with words, because when you put down the words, you consistently feed the people with ideologies as well. Just imagine 50 years, 100 years from now on, there would be a time when people probably would never ever read that there was a place called Allahabad. Okay, it was always Prayagraj. Okay, now when you don't read the name of Allahabad, it's not just you erase a name, you erase a whole archive of narrative that was associated with it. You erase a whole historical, cultural, ideological archive with that, which is exactly what they're looking for.
Now, I know I just asked if all these changings of names meant anything and what the government was actually trying to do. But now I kind of want to get to the crux of why people should care about this. How does it negatively affect people? Why should the Indian public care? Is it even dangerous?
I think it's a very essential question, and there are many ways in which it affects. But I would like to highlight again one very specific point, and that is with sanitization comes intellectual sterilization, where we are converted into living beings, where we are intellectually decapitated. We lose the capability to think, observe, and express critically. And once the aspect of critical thinking is gone, what we are left with is either different versions of absolutism. Either we are absolutely conforming with what is there, or we are absolutely rejecting what is there. And both have its extreme dangers, right? We know absolutism is deep down dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Sorry, I had to say that. But on a more serious note, I think there's not only a type of disingenuous nature or the sterilization that comes by conforming, but it's also really hard to not conform. As someone who's constantly fighting misinformation and trying to inform my friends and family the best I can, it's honestly at times pretty hard to, I guess, fight this type of intellectual sterilization you're talking about.
And today you see across this problem is across social media spaces. The moment you raise your voice against the right-wing propagandism in India or any other parts of the world, I mean, we are talking in the context of India. So if you're raising this voice, people are going to tear you apart without a second thought. And why this sort of uncritical? Okay, fine. You can be a BJP supporter. I can be an anti-BJP person. Still, we can sit here, have our own logic, have our own logical reasoning. We can have multiple points of disagreement. Still, we can sit here and interact and talk. We don't have to dismiss each other. We don't have to abuse each other. We don't have to personally hate each other. But we only end up doing that when our critical functionality is completely sterilized. When we lose our critical functionality. And when do we lose our critical functionality or the power to think, act critically is when we are intellectually sterilized. And all of these processes of sanitation, saffronization, pseudo-patriotism, pseudo-sciences, and we can keep going on and adding on to the list have deeply contributed to this state. And this is why, as public, we need to be aware. What are we thinking? How are we thinking? Because the damage that has already been done and the damage that is already happening is not just going to be restricted within this particular time frame. It will dissipate across generations. So when we are damaging, we are not just damaging the present generation, we are damaging another few centuries of generation as well. And will our future generation be able to deal with that sort of damage is an essential question. And that question itself must bother us, must unsettle us, and must make us aware.
Oh, trust me, I am definitely unsettled. And I think the viewers are also going to be a little bit, wary after hearing that statement. I just wanted to say thank you so much for your time. It was super useful hearing the root of saffronization and exactly how it plays a role and why we should care in present time. Thank you so much, Mr. Day.
It was a brilliant conversation, so I enjoyed every bit of it.
Yay, I'm glad. But take care and thank you so much. For the second part of the podcast, I really want to focus on a local voice. Someone who isn't an academic or a scholar, but who's from the city of Hyderabad and is really proud of their identity. Because throughout my research for the text article and writing this, I've talked to a lot of really passionate people from within Hyderabad who are against this name change. And a lot of the rallying calls for the name change do come from the BJP and come from a more national point of view, or rather than local. And we heard from Dr. Sayande that a bunch of the reasons why the name changes hurt. But I think hearing from a local what it means to them and how it would affect them, immediately in the immediate would also be useful. I mean, how would you feel if something was taken from you? If you felt like your identity was being erased? So I talked with Sharanya Reddy, who is a resident of Hyderabad, and her family has lived in the city for generations, including when it was ruled by the Nizams. How do you feel when people, specifically politicians, who are not from the city, who don't represent the people of Hyderabad, make comments on the way the city should be, how it operates, and what its name is?
I feel like saying get lost. There's one uniqueness, there's one identity associated with the name. Tomorrow, if somebody tells you that, just suppose people who lived in London, tomorrow people are going to say, okay, we're going to change London's name to Spain. Then how will they feel? The same way.
From your own experience, would you say Hyderabad is a multicultural place? If so, what sort of influences do you see? Where do you see them and where are they from?
A lot of it is the Mughal influence, the Persian influence, most of all in the food and language.
Is it something that you're proud of because it's so unique, or
Yes, very, very food, language and attitude also. Unfortunately, attitude.
What do you mean by attitude?
Everything is easygoing, getting up late. And the word pursue. The word pursue means day after tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow never comes.
And this is a word that's specifically used in the city?
Yeah. Like if you tell them, kab aayenge? Like you want the carpenter to come and do some work, right? कब आएंगे? परसों आ जाएंगे, परसों आ जाएंगे, परसों आके कर लेंगे. But that parsoon will never come. Parsoon doesn't mean actually day after tomorrow. For them, parsoon never comes. Parsoon is an indefinite day after tomorrow.
Did you call Hyderabad when you were younger too?
Yeah.
Do you have any nicknames for the city?
No.
Okay. Do you feel supported by your city?
In all ways.
That was Sharanya Reddy, a true Hyderabadi, as she described herself when speaking to her. And I kind of just wanted to, I guess, end off with, so where does Hyderabad stand in all of this, or after all of this? Well, for now, it seems like Hyderabadis, the people who live there, closely connect their identity to the name of their city, which tells a rich, multicultural story. Hyderabad is, as aforementioned, one of the biggest cities in India, and it's extremely fast growing. So that means its electorate is constantly changing. So honestly, only time will tell what will happen to the city. It all depends on the people within it. Thank you so much. Again, I'm Vishu Reddy, and thank you so much for listening.